Hello Factorio people, welcome back to the broadcasts from Space Age. Last time we got most of the stuff done on Gleber, so today we're going to finish up Gleber, take all of that juicy science stuff back to Nauvis. Thank you for all the support, the continued support. If you want to do the like, comment, subscribe for me on this one as well, that would be great. But without any further ado, let's jump straight into it, shall we? Gleber is running well. Seems to be. Just researching some of the agricultural science texts now, and it all seems to be going swimmingly. I did some real testing. I opened up editor mode and put the game speed to as fast as it would go, and left the game in a state where, if you open the map view, you get a bit more UPS out of it, just because it's not rendering all the graphics or whatever. Queued up just a whole bunch of science tech, you know, just one of these infinite science researchers that will just use a lot, just to see what would happen. And I went out, I went for a quick 10-15 minute walk, you know, and came back, simulated about 6 hours of game time like that. And everything worked fine, except for one thing, and this has been a known issue for a while, is that the shuttles don't quite keep up if they're going backwards and forwards all of the time. The science can be made very quickly, it can arrive in good time, can go back to Nauvis in good time, it can be used. But there is a small issue with the fact that there's 10k science. There is a small issue with the shuttle's ammo production not keeping up. So if this should not be taking this long. If the ships are going backwards and forwards quite quickly, as they are wont to do, they can, and in fact did in my testing, run out of ammo and crash, suffer a horrible fate. Let's see if it happens this time. So it drops off the science quite quickly, uses the science quite quickly, but it doesn't quite get enough time to restock the ammo in that time and crash. The science itself worked okay. When I came back from my walk, how do I get back to Nauvis? Gleber. When I came back from my walk, the science was still being produced. It was just spoiling in this chest because no ship was ever coming to get it. Because the ship had in fact perished in space. Which is unfortunate. I mean, it looks okay now. Let's see what happens on this trip. Because I feel like on this trip it will turn around quite quickly because we've got 2 rockets ready to go. It doesn't need anything else. It just literally needs the 2k science. See, there's 1,000 of it already. And there is ammo in the rockets. I did test a few things with this. At one point my Vulcanus shuttle had a condition, you know, don't leave unless there's 40 ammo in the turrets. And that does work to an extent, but it's not brilliant. But we always knew the ships needed a redesign, so this seems like as good a time as any to do that. Maybe it was just bad luck. Maybe we just got a bad luck spawning of asteroids that just, you know, a cluster of 4 or 5 quite tightly packed together that the turrets just couldn't deal with. I mean, we are of course only on 4 turrets, but you can see the belts are getting a bit empty now. So anyway, it did work. Gleber did work. Everything just kept going. I don't know how long this time has been going in this little experiment that I'm doing here for you, but everything did work. The carbon into carbon filter production is kind of working, but it's not really the best thing of all, but whatever. Don't need a huge amount of carbon fibre, really. It goes into portable fusion reactors, which we won't get until we get to Aquilo anyway, rocket turrets, which we will need to go to Aquilo for sure, and stack inserters, which I don't really respect. At the moment, at least. So we really only need them for rocket turrets when we do the shuttle redesigns, because we will definitely need rocket turrets to get to Aquila. If we look at the Factoriopedia and go to the trip to Aquila from anywhere, we start hitting big metallic asteroids, which have a very high physical resistance, so the turrets will no longer really be good enough. We're going to have to use rockets because they have very minimal explosion resistance. And that is the intended solution, of course, because on Gleba you research advanced asteroid reprocessing, where you can now get calcite from the ice chunks, you can get sulfur from the carbon chunks, and you can get copper from the metallic asteroid chunks, even though it's not really of huge value to us right now. So that's the plan. The ship is... I mean, it's okay, I guess. Where are we? We've just come back from now. We've just arrived to Nauvis for the third time. And you can see this is working. It's just... yeah, I didn't see it happen, obviously, in my testing. I just came back and the ship had gone. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I have a plan for that, anyway. I was just maybe hoping to recreate it on the stream for you, but maybe it was just a 1 in 100 coincidental asteroid spawning chance. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Great content. Great YouTube content. Let me take a sip of my tea while we're here. Come on. No, it's fine. It just works, unfortunately. Apparently it just works. Okay. But I do have a design for a shuttle that can go to Aquila, and I thought what I would do is I would just upgrade all the ships to that design. It's not strictly necessary. You don't need rockets to get to any of the other planets, and in fact in my design the rocket turrets have filters on so they don't attack the small rockets anyway, but in my opinion it's a nice belt and braces approach, because when you have your Aquila ship, there's two ways to approach it. You can either have all your ships go to Aquila, because the issue with Aquila is you cannot make everything on Aquila. We're past that point in the game now. We cannot start on Aquila from scratch. We're going to have to ship stuff in. It's just some things that are impossible to make on Aquila. So we're going to have to ship stuff in. So the question is do we get our existing rocket shuttles to drop off stuff at Aquila on their way to and from picking up science? Or do we have one shuttle that does a loop, you know, goes Nauvis, Vulcanus, Gleba, Aquila, Fulgora, Nauvis, Vulcanus, Gleba, Aquila, you know, it goes in a circle around the solar system, dropping stuff off, picking stuff up. And both are valid. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to make every shuttle able to go to Aquila, because it's easy to do that. And I have the design already. I did start making a design, and then I realised that I was really bad at it, so I'll just repurpose my design from my vanilla playthrough. Which looks like this. You can see it's quite big in comparison. Let's get rid of... You're on pause thrust anyway. Send all the calcite down. Just send everything down. Send it all down to the planet. It's fine. Get rid of it. Only got one cargo bay, of course, so that'll do. Alright, literally just destroy the whole ship. And plop down the large frigate design. Okay. Bring me some cargo bays, please, just so we can get this ball rolling. It's powered by a nuclear reactor. Now that we've got efficiency module 3s are done, thanks. And now that we've got Covarex sorted on the planet, we've got a preponderance of nuclear fuel. Nuclear fuel in space is quite good. You just melt a bit of ice into water and there you go. You've got like 40 megawatts from one nuclear reactor, so I've decided to do it like that. The advanced fuel recipe which we have now, that we've researched this from Advanced asteroid processing makes a lot of fuel very easily from just the calcite that you also get from the advanced asteroid crushing recipe. You don't need to change anything else about it, you just plug the calcite in as well and you get a lot more fuel, a lot more bang for your buck. You do need to research the coal synthesis recipe, which comes with a rocket turret for some reason, so we should probably do that before we do anything else. Because you need the coal to make the explosives to make the rockets. And then there are some rocket turrets on the ship which will defend you on your trips to and from Aquilo. But of course, if your ship isn't often going to Aquilo, it's not a huge problem, and then just a belt takes the ammo around for the turrets and other belts to get rid of excess stuff, because you want the calcite more than you want anything, really. So if you've got loads of ice, or you've got loads of one thing, this is the problem with this recipe, right? If you need the sulfur but you've got a backup of carbon, you won't get any more sulfur until this is gone. So you need to think of ways to throw one or the other away, depending on what you have a shortage of. There is a flaw in my design that I never feel like I have a shortage of ice, so I never have a plan for throwing away ice. And that is yet to come back and bite me. I always have enough ice, and I always have enough calcite. I never, like, have calcite that no ice. And that's mostly because I think I've just got tanks for the water, and it goes into a lot of the things that we use. So it's yet to be an issue, either in this playthrough or the next playthrough. So we'll slowly get these to build. I did make a few changes on Nowvis for that. I just added a speed module to... added a speed beacon, rather, like here, just to speed up these rocket launches, because it was taking a long time. Also, yeah, now that you've got the cargo base, we can set this on auto request missing construction materials. If I was smart, I wouldn't have sent those transport belts down, but, you know, I'm not smart, we've established this already, so this will just launch a whole bunch of rockets and get sorted. And we'll need the carbon fibre as well, so I have tried my best to make sure this carbon fibre design is going to be foolproof. It's kind of annoying, because it needs carbon, which needs spoilage. And so you kind of have to... I do eventually end up changing this in a small way, because it causes an issue with continuing to pick up spoilage here when it could really do with it being used here in this nutrients from spoilage just to kickstart the process again. Because these two designs, and to a lesser extent the sulfur, are your biggest headaches here on Gleba, because you want plastic and you want rocket fuel, but you also need to make sure that the system will kickstart itself or not crash completely when your belt is full of rocket fuel. So it's all well and good it working, and it's all well and good putting in a buffer system to buffer, you know, 10,000 rocket fuel, but at some point it is going to back up. So you need to make sure that things don't, you know, because this is going to turn into spoilage, you need a plan for that. Gleba's hard, man. Gleba is hard. But the blueprints are in the episode 13 blueprint book, and the extra ones from the episode 14 blueprint book last time. So those are there for your delectation. Please let me know how you get on with them. They are constantly changing and evolving. They may even be different when you look at them from this episode, depending on any other issues I find, but I will try and bring those up as we come to them. Right. I'm waffling on. It's been 15 bloody minutes already. Good lord. Now we have the advanced asteroid processing as well. One of the other things I wanted to do was redesign the space science platform, because I want to send calcite down from space, just to lower the need for the Vulcaner shuttle to go backwards and forwards to pick up calcite. So this is mostly the same. It's ever so slightly larger. It's got a few more... it's got some space for some cargo bays. But all this does is it's got extra ice asteroid processing with the advanced recipe to just send the calcite down to Nauvis. And then it's also got the asteroid reprocessing one down here to turn excess metallic and carbonic asteroids into hopefully ice ones. But you know, that's a random reroll, so it may happen, it may not happen, but it will, in theory, cycle asteroids around until it spits an ice one out. Might be sensible to like stagger these maybe like this, actually, I suppose. Doesn't really matter. But you can see that there's also no bottleneck support. There's no inserters that throw the asteroids away. This just picks them up if they're not processed here, because like even one asteroid crushing thing going into one furnace is so much for the space science that you've got, right? Like, we need to throw the ice away, which doesn't feel brilliant, but it is what it is, because we want the calcite more than anything. Because calcite and Nauvis is not a problem, per se, but it does lower the need for the Vulcanus shuttle to go backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Right, the Gleber shuttle is finished. This is what it looks like when it works. It's extremely safe. Never had a problem with it. Loads of rockets that we are not shooting at anything with yet. But then you have it. That's the point. Then you have it. The nuclear power plant works in much the same way as all the nuclear power plants should work, really. There's an inserter hooked up to a circuit that only inserts nuclear fuel when this is both empty and there is not extra steam here. So this steam acts like a battery. The steam will just always stay like steam. It will never condense, it will never cool down, it will never do anything. So only when these start working will the steam level lower, and then when the steam level lowers, the inserter will put in another uranium fuel cell. Extremely efficient, extremely efficient. This also has a different way to inject the fuel. If you remember on this one, it was injecting the fuel when the speed went below a certain value. This one, this one does it on a clock. Quick primer about clocks. I'm not going to be the best person to explain this, but I know how they work in my head. I've just never had to vocalize it before. Constant combinator with a circuit signal with 1. A combinator that loops that signal, so that's the green wire plugged, the output plugged back into the input, plugged into itself. So that is just these two things here just add 1, add 1, add 1. So this 1 here is going into this 1 here. But then this 1 output here is going back into this 1 here to make 2. 2 plus 1 becomes 3. 3 plus 1 becomes 4, etc., etc. When A is less than 100, output A. So that means it just ticks up to 100 until the condition is false and something else happens. You can make this any number you want, and it will just add 1, add 1, add 1 every tick. And then that is attached to pumps, which only work when A is under 15. So that just means that this works periodically on a clock. Yeah? There's many, many more YouTube videos about clocks on here, this platform, and they'll do a much better job than I just did there of explaining it. But that is the basics of how you get something to work periodically. Yeah, and I'm just waiting on a few things. I've made a small change. I'm also going to overflow the calcite from this process into the cargo bay as well, just to send extra calcite, because we get a lot more calcite from this because we've got a lot more asteroid crushers, a lot more arms. It's a lot bigger of a ship. It's just going to find more asteroids. So we'll probably end up getting more calcite here than we will from Bronze Star 2, as I suppose it should be called. But, you know, every little helps. And as we research more levels of asteroid productivity, this will also help a bit as well. Where am I? Am I still on Glebber? Come to Glebber and pick me up, please. Please come to Glebber and pick me up. I'm done. I'm ready to leave this godforsaken planet. Let's get out of here, shall we? We've got to go back to Nauvis. Because the biggest thing that you get from Glebber is you get the ability to harvest biter eggs, which let you get Biolabs, which are OP as all the hell, really. Because they let you... Biolab will... Oh, we're off. Good. A Biolab will... Where are they? Has only 50% science pack drain. So you double your science production just by using them. They have 4 module slots compared to a lab's 2 module slots, so you can also put more productivity modules in there. So this is really what you want. And I think if you went to... If you're going to go to Glebber first, this would be your main reason to go. But we've got to get back to Nauvis first. And one of the things I've noticed on Nauvis, really, is that these red belts, sick and tired of them. Sick and tired of the red belts. So, you know what? Let's upgrade the red belts, shall we? That'll be funny. So much of the stuff here is just doing nothing. I make the blue belts here. I've been making blue belts here just in a little stockpile for a while. Only 2,000, it's not that many. We've got some foundries. We could also plug the foundries in, and I probably will. It's foolish to not make belts in foundries for the 50% productivity bonus. You use a lot of resources to make blue belts here. We also make a lot of blue belts on Vulcanus, so we could do that, but it also seems to me that putting blue belts in a rocket and launching the rockets to come to Nauvis with blue belts is also very efficient. Even though these stack to 100 in a rocket rather than 50 to the turbo transport belts, it's still whatever. It's still whatever. So yeah, let's get back to Nauvis and we'll look at what exactly needs to be done here. Alright, the robots are hard at work upgrading things to blue belts. The observant of you will also notice that I unplugged this, and I dismantled all of this that was hooked up with a silly amount of red belts, just so that I didn't have to either upgrade them all to blue belts or whatever. If we ever need to plug this back in, I'll start using trains. This one also probably not going to upgrade this. Cova X is ticking along nicely. Once you've got a lot of uranium on the belt, you can just get rid of this circuit condition. That, if you remember from the explanation, this filter stops you from overloading the... Hello? Stops you from overloading the centrifuges with more uranium than they can handle. But... does that work? Why does that not work? That's very strange. So I suppose once that is done, you can just get rid of that and probably make this also a green inserter as well. Okay, Biolabs. Biolabs. To get Biolabs, you need biter eggs. For biter eggs, you need to capture a biter nest and give it bioflux. Not just any nutrients, it has to specifically be bioflux. Thankfully, Bioflux has a spoil time of 2 hours, so it's not too egregious to bring a whole bunch from Glebber. Do we have any? Do we have any Bioflux? You need to make the capture bot rockets, which also need Bioflux, and that's why this requested chest has gone, because presumably I didn't want to make too much. Anyway, so we're in peaceful mode, of course. The biters will not get too aggy about it, but they will definitely get aggy about it. So unfortunately the 100% pacifist run, it ends here. It was already not 100% pacifist run because we had to kill some doohickeys on that planet. What are they called? Small strafer pentapods, that's right, to get their eggs from the egg raft. So I've got my capture bot rockets here. There you go. That'll capture these. And then I'm going to just do a simple bioflux request here for these requester chests. Not quite sure how the biters feel about this yet. There we go. They are probably fine up until this nest goes, and then when there's no nest for them to call home, they probably get annoyed. Alright, so we got some bioflux on the way. This doesn't need to be... This doesn't need to... there they are. There they are. They're mad. They're definitely mad. They just perish. Doesn't even shoot them. Oh no, yes I did. Why is this not coming up on my milestones? How strange. Anyway, these take the bioflux. They take... One bioflux fills the bar, and then it takes... Oh god, I think you get like 5 crafts out of one bioflux, and you get 5 biter eggs a go. So you get an absolute ridiculous number of biter eggs. So what I would suggest is not making this completely self-sufficient. Are they still mad? Are they still mad somewhere? Please, guys, I've merely evicted you. It's fine. You can go somewhere else. Go over here. Look, there's loads of you over there. Don't worry about it. Do this once just to get some biter eggs to make some biolabs, and then once you've done that, you can ignore it. You don't need this to be completely self-sufficient forever. So give me some biolabs. Now that we've got the biter eggs, I guess I should put the biter eggs in a box as well. That would have been smart. Other than that, you just treat these like big machines. The biter eggs will spoil into biters, much like the pentapod eggs did on Gleba, so just be wary of that, which is another good reason why, you know, to not keep this forever, because you will make so many biter eggs. Like, you're just so many. What? That was weird. Yeah, you'll make so many biter eggs, it's not even funny. And, oh good, I didn't research the biolabs before I started this process. Excellent. Really good. Really, really smart man. You can see here I'm making, oh, there's a bite. You can see here I'm making, belts in the foundry, just to speed this process up and make it slightly more efficient. But I guess, I should farm biter eggs for a bit before we, and make some biolabs, I suppose. Alright, here they are. It didn't take long, thankfully. Here they are. The design is slightly different. You still obviously need a plan for the spoilage. But because you're not chaining labs, you don't need the spoilage like here, like the old design was, because we're not going to chain these labs because they're very quick. They will use 2.3 packs a second, so we're already on 142. I don't know if this number is actually 100% correct. I feel like it might be half this, because it's only doing science pack drain 50%, so it thinks it's consuming 140 per minute, but it is in fact only using a physical 70 bottles. So as such, I think 10 is not going to be quite enough, and it certainly won't be enough when we plug in all of these, well, prod module 3s, of course, because the other thing is that prod module 3s need biter eggs, so also use this opportunity to make a few prod module 3s for their 10% productivity, giving this 40% productivity and 50% science pack drain. So that turns one science pack into what would that even be? One science pack would fill it up and then go to 40%, but only use half the science pack. Yeah, a lot. A lot. Much more science per science. Right, so I turned the circuit signal down to 0, just so that all of these asserters only insert science packs when there are less than 0 on the belt. So obviously we can change this now to the actual number that we want, and let's say 50. Here it all comes. Oh, it's so colourful. I really like this sushi belt idea. I'm very happy with how it turned out. And there they go. Just don't quite have the modules in yet, but that's fine, it doesn't matter. Also, I had loads of science packs in my pocket, so I should probably fix that. So we're already here going to be on a huge science per minute gain for basically free. So we're now already past what we were on. We don't even have all the prod modules in. We don't... Oh no, they're all working now. All 10 are working now. But we don't have all the prod modules in, but we're still over 150, still going. A little... Excuse me, a little bit. 150 odd. 150 odd. Up from 90. Plus the extra productivity from these when the biter eggs... when the biter eggs go. Yeah, and so I have left the bioflux request going here, but you can see there's 324 eggs in there, 760 eggs in there. That's like maybe, what, half an hour of me doing that. Yeah, 26 minutes. So you really don't need that much. I'm just going to stockpile as many prod module 3s as I can by using this electromagnetic plant. But, you know, this is very much just a start off a 10 thing. It's not... We're just going to use this to get everything that we need to get to Aquilo and to quote-unquote finish the game. And then we'll think a bit more about making everything a bit more long-term, a bit more efficient. Because the other thing, of course, is we get goodies on Aquilo that we're going to want to integrate into the factory. So it's difficult. It's difficult to keep things both temporary but then also good and efficient. Right, I think we've probably done with these as well. Anything else I did? Probably. I added a landfill farm over here just because I didn't want to be caught with my pants down at some point in the near future needing 1 million landfill. So I thought I would at least get the ball rolling on this now. Whole bunch of big mining drills. Still can't feed a Mark III assembly machine with enough stone, but whatever, we'll just leave these going. Each one of these will be able to hold 2,400, and what's that? 2,400 times 18. Some large number. Science hasn't quite gotten that far yet, progressed that far to work out what that number would be. Now they're upgraded everything to blue belts as well, we could also do with adding a bit more. I added another steel. That was what was happening. Steel was flagging. It was causing an issue with purple science production. Purple science production has of course halted because I haven't put the stone production back down yet, but that's okay. So we can add a few more foundries to these just to saturate these blue belts, because we've upgraded to blue belts, so we may as well. I did a lot of really small things, and I honestly can't remember too much of it. There was nothing like hugely important. What is this? What on earth are these? Get rid of them. But you can see, things are fine. Things are ticking over nicely here on Nalvis. Gleber. Things are ticking over nicely here on Gleber. I'm off Gleber now. I didn't integrate the roboports, the bottom wall and stuff. If Gleber breaks, there's no construction robots in the network. They're here in this chest. I mean, I suppose I could have put them in the roboport just in case, but you know, whatever. Nothing will break. It's fine. Comedy. We call that one comedy. Honestly, don't know what happened. I just sort of turned my back and it broke. Yeah, I can't explain that. I feel like it's something to do with, and I do change this eventually, I feel like it's something to do with this bioflux overproducing and then all just spoiling and then not having any nutrients at all. But then that would only cause this to fail. I don't understand why that then would cause this to fail. Of course, all of the nutrients are. It's this, I think. I think it's this. So I've set up a circuit condition to only request the bioflux from a space platform when a space platform is arrived. So you could, of course, just have this chest filling up with bioflux so that there's always some bioflux in the system. That is a bit of a waste. If you're not using any researchers with Gleben science, with agricultural science packs, then your ship is never arriving. So this bioflux is just spoiling. So this inserter is attached to a radar, which, if you don't know, radars can be used to transmit signals across entire surfaces now. And so this rocket silo just reads orbital requests. So outputs the sum of all unsatisfied logistics requests made by space platforms currently not in orbit around this planet. So when the Gleba shuttle arrives, this gets the signal saying, oh, I need bioflux. That sends the signal to this inserter that says you can start working now because there's a bioflux request signal. And then it starts filling this up. And I think what that has done, that I thought that would be smart, I think what that has done is that has caused too much of a drain on this belt here, which has caused not enough nutrients to enter the system either here or here. Not that it matters, because if either one of these fails, then you can't get bioflux anymore. Now I'm semi-confident this will kick back into life, but it will take as long as it takes these jelly nuts and Yamakos to spoil. Because as soon as one of these spoils, it will turn into nutrients, which will then... No, because that will then go into here, won't it? And then it won't be able to do anything. That will spoil and it will just go forever. Until the spoilage, until the nutrients from this permeates all the way around here. So that you know, maybe it turns out a little bit of a gap in the design here. And that's because I integrated this into the system, didn't test it, and then left. So I guess we're going back. But that's okay. We can integrate that with something else, because you can go to Gleba on your way to Aquilo anyway, so maybe we can kill two birds with one stone here, maybe. Okay, we're back. I'm gonna just get rid of it. We've got what we needed the bioflux for. We needed the bioflux to make capture bot rockets and to make Biolabs and to make some prod module Mark IIIs with the biter eggs. Now that that's done, we can take this away and also take away the request from the shuttle and the request from the cargo bay on Alvis. Just so that hopefully that doesn't happen again. And this is an interesting just life lesson, I guess. At the beginning, when I said I did my simulated like 6 hours of testing and it all worked fine, you can't then just go and add a bit to it and then expect it to still work. Even one small, oh, it's just one small change, how much effect could that have? It's only one small change. I only just added an extra HTML tag here, it's not going to break it, Phone call from your boss at 2 in the morning. You broke it. You're sacked. True story. I assume. Not from me. And some more belt and braces approach here to the sulfur, which, oh god, what a nightmare. So again, once the sulfur backed up, this changed how this all reacted. So this looks like this now. This also seems to be okay. Spoilage is going to come in from this belt directly, and then I added circuit conditions to these biolabs to not worry too much about picking up spoilage if so with the circuit network now you can read the contents of an assembler / biolab. So this inserter does not pick up any spoilage to make carbon if there is already carbon in the machine. If there is carbon in the machine, that implies that this inserter cannot output the carbon because the belt is full, therefore this does not need to work, so the spoilage can go through the system and be burnt / made into nutrients. And these inserters also have the same thing, where they only burn the spoilage if this machine is working. If this machine is working, that implies there is enough spoilage on the belt to make nutrients, and therefore any excess spoilage at that point can be burnt. And I think that's probably why Gleba is quite challenging for people, is because you need a good grasp of not only the circuit network, but the new elements of the circuit network. I think Vulcanus and Fulgora, as a vanilla player, are fairly intuitive. I think on Gleba, and it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these circuit network things were invented because testers were on Gleba and saying, it would be really helpful if this, it'd be really helpful if that. You know? So Gleba happened, then the circuit network changes happened because Gleba was borderline impossible to deal without things like read the status of an assembly machine. So this should all be working. All 3 ships are now upgraded to the large frigate model. They are working okay. They all have a catch here for excess calcite, with an inserter that just says put calcite in the cargo bays if there's less than 2,000. That has of course meant that now Vise now has a lot of calcite, which is great, so the Vulcanus shuttle isn't so much worried about calcite. In fact, it's stockpiling calcite because it's still got this system on it, but it's still picking up 1,000 from Vulcanus, so there is a lot of calcite in the system now. Which is good, which is exactly what you want. Because I've expanded all of the smelting to fill a blue belt of each thing. Put the stone back in, thankfully. I did add another extra 10 biolabs because it was still... the belts were still full of science. There were still biolabs. They were all working, basically. I just kept adding biolabs until eventually some of them were saying missing science packs. So we've managed to get science production up to 220-ish consistently. There's a peak there of 388. Not quite sure what's going on there. The bottleneck is currently purple science. Purple science is working at capacity. You can't just search for the word purple. It's not called purple science in the game, you fool. Oh, the spike was probably when there was a research that was not purple science had finished, and then a new research that did need production science started, and so therefore the backlog on the belt was used up in these 5 minutes here. But you can see it's working at its 90 a minute capacity. It just looks like there's a problem because obviously one of your science packs is always going to be the one science pack that is being consumed at capacity. Like, it's gonna... if they're all producing at 90 a minute, then one of them is going to just be exactly 90 a minute, and the others will be stockpiled from a previous instance where they weren't used, which happens a lot more in Factorio Space Age, because not every research needs every science. This one, for example, doesn't need purple. This one needs purple, but not yellow, or space, or, you know, etc, etc. So I added the biolabs, just so that they're there, you know. We've got them, they're free. They don't... Thank the good, sweet Lord and our Saviour, Jesus Christ, that these do not need nutrients to run. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Nightmare fuel. I added some speed beacons to the oil processing because plastic was actually a bottleneck at one point, which was causing red circuits to be a bottleneck. Thankfully that issue seems to be mostly solved, and plastic is now backing up again. It's all good. It's all good. We're just ploughing through some of these Gleban sciences. And we'll call that good. I also added the bot mall to Gleber, because, you know, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you'll never get fooled again. So yeah. We just need to build one more ship now to go to Aquilo. And a bit of a mishmash of stuff happened this time, but you know, that's just what Factorio's like sometimes. Sometimes you have a plan, sometimes you're just spinning plates. Okay, the Aquila shuttle is being built, but just for the sake of demonstration, I am here on the Gleben shuttle. And we'll use this shuttle to just quickly pop to Aquilo, just so that we can see exactly what's going on here. You're just waiting for some bioflux to arrive, even though I told you to stop getting the bioflux. Something must have gone wrong there. Alright. Bye-bye, Gleber. So you need a ship like this to go to Aquilo, as I say, because we will eventually start seeing big asteroids. Medium. These are still medium. They look big, but they're medium. We'll see if this frigate manages to keep up. Come on. Big asteroid. Medium. Oh, there's one! Oh, look at that. Look at the size of that big boy. Big outside asteroid. Big metallic asteroid. So, as soon as they get into range, we should start seeing the rockets go in. Yeah, there we go. And you can see I'm researching stronger explosives here to get this sorted. Obviously, we're not getting any because I'm in the Gleben shuttle that should be bringing the science packs back. But this works. And it will only get easier as we do more levels of stronger explosives. I found yellow rockets to be fine. Red rockets are... explosive rockets are good, of course they are. The extra step to make them, arguably not worth it. Sorry if you can hear banging, they are of course still doing DIY next door, it is what it is. The explosive rockets are better when the asteroids are very much clustered together, which you don't really get on the trip to Aquilo. The trip to Aquilo is twice as far as all of the other trips you will have been making up until this point. This is 30,000. Doesn't matter which way you go, from Gleber or from Folgora, it's 30,000, whereas all the other trips are 15. So you need to be ready. You need to be ready. And of course, the further away from the sun you go, the less solar power you get, which is one of the reasons why we're using the nuclear fuel. Because there's absolutely no way you'll get solar panels to power you all the way to Aquilo. So this kind of density is better with red rockets, but you can see that it's not, you know, the splash damage is not really going to be the be-all and end-all here. And let me demonstrate the thruster fuel. You can see that it's just sort of pulsing up and down as the pump works on its clock. So this keeps us at about a 90% efficiency rate. If you wanted to go slower, just change this number down to like 5. So this only pumps fuel in when the clock is less than 5, which is obviously going to happen a lot less. So that speed is now coming down. Probably not by much, to be fair. But no drama. Still loads of rockets on the belt as well. Okay. Now, of course, we're not going to do anything on Aquilo today, but much like before, I would be remiss if I didn't at least land there and show you what was going on. What? Oh, just the wall. Just the wall got hit, it's fine. How strange. Probably should put walls in the large frigate requester thing, just to make sure I've always got some spare walls. Right, let's see what Aquilo's got in store for us. Nice. This is the tiniest starting island I've ever seen. Like, this is just grossly unfair. I guess maybe we could bridge a gap over to here. Right. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more Factorio Space Age, be sure to subscribe. Next time we'll start properly in earnest on Aquilo. Other than that, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.